and are still stuck in the 1960s. And you're wondering, why in the world did I have to be placed into this family? But it's because you didn't choose them. And because you have no choice, you've got to work with what you have. You've got to work with the various personalities, the moodiness, the laziness, the stubbornness. You've got to work with what you have. Because in a real sense, every family has some form of dysfunction. All right, y'all don't want to be real in church. And I know many people don't like to hear that. That's why we try to paint the facade, especially when we come to church, that we are the perfect family. We could be arguing in the car all the way to Apple Creek Boulevard, but the moment that we get, do I have a witness in the house? But the moment that we hit the church parking lot, immediate transformation takes place, because we don't want the family name to be tainted. So we do all we can while we can to protect the family name. But I've lived long enough to understand that every family has their feud. Every family has their fight. But the good news today is that even though you have come from a family filled with dysfunctions, you can still function and be all whom God has desired you to be. And this brings us to the opening credits of our text. And if there was anybody who knew about this dysfunction and the family, it has got to be Joseph. The Bible says that Jacob was Joseph's father. And the very fact that Jacob is Joseph's daddy means that there is dysfunction already. Jacob, beloved, grew up in a home where deceit was the common caviar dished out every night. He grew up with a mother who claimed she loved him, but was really fueled by favoritism, which led to the robbery of her eldest son's birthright. Jacob grew up with a brother that was just bothered by his existence and sought to end his life like Malcolm X by any means necessary. These were the circumstances that surrounded Jacob's life. And you do know, beloved, that psychologists will tell you that your environment will affect your behavior. And so Jacob brought this to the table when he started his own family. The Bible says Jacob had 12 kids with 4 different baby mamas. And all the baby mamas had drama. Leah, she had self-esteem issues. That's why every time, go home and read it for yourself, that's why every time she gave him a child, she would say, "Oh Lord, I hope he loves me now." And she would keep on having children, the Bible tells us, hoping to be validated by Jacob's love. Rachel, on the other hand, was all about looking like a diva. All she cared about was the exterior. She got her hair done. She would always look meticulous. She would miss prayer meeting, but she would never miss a pedicure and a manicure appointment. And going to the gym, yes, she had to go to the gym on a regular basis because she had to keep that 18, 22, whatever it was. And so, but she soon realized, that while she was working out in the evenings, Jacob was at home working on a baby with her sister Leah. Rachel now is upset and jealous. She's upset with God because she couldn't have a baby at the time. So she now gets her maid Bilhah to be her surrogate mother. And the Bible says that now Bilhah, who is her maid, gets pregnant for Jacob. Wait a minute, doesn't that sound familiar? Jacob's grandmother did the very same thing. Do you remember when she could not have a child? She gave Abraham Hagar, and as a result, Hagar got pregnant. Now, I know Isaac must have told Jacob about the drama it costed his family between him and Ishmael. But Jacob finds himself in the same predicament because sometimes things are passed down from generation to generation. Some of us here are struggling with various strongholds and we're wondering how come it's so hard to break. It wasn't just because you were born into sin, but the reality is that some of those things were passed down to you from your lineage. All right, I know that we don't want to preach about generational curses, but these things do happen. Some of the social issues have been passed down. Divorce may run into your family. Teenage pregnancy may run into your family. Promiscuity perhaps runs in your family. But the good news today is that there is a conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, and he can break any chain and set the captive free. Someone told me whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And I'm saying to myself, as I read the story, I thought that Young and the Restless and Jerry Springer had more drama than Jacob, but Jacob's drama outdoes all of this drama, because the text says that when Leah realizes that Bilhah is having kids for Jacob, she now gets her maid to sleep with Jacob as well. And now there's drama everywhere. All the baby mamas are filled with drama because none of them wanted to be treated like the sweetheart. All of them wanted to be treated like the wife. There is dysfunction everywhere. But did you notice in the text that it is how easy it is for dysfunction to find dysfunction? Okay, y'all didn't hear what I'm saying. It is no coincidence that Jacob found these dysfunctional people to have relationship with, because he was a product of dysfunction himself. This was all he ever knew. And when that's all you know, that's the only thing you'll expect. What happened to Jacob now is what sometimes happens to us when our abnormal becomes our normal. Should I say that again? Sometimes when we've sometimes when we've been in some situations that have been so abnormal, the abnormal becomes normal unto us. That's why some young men will not treat a woman how she deserves to be treated. He still cheats on her because when he was growing up, he saw his father with a whole lot of women. And to him, that's normal. That's why some young women, when they get into a relationship, will put up with a slap here and there. Because when she was growing up, she saw mama getting the same kinds of blows. So to her, it is normal. But that isn't normal, that's abnormal. And you're abnormal for accepting it. That's why you've got to be careful, people. Especially my young people, with who you hook up with. Young ladies, just don't choose a man because he drives a nice car. You've got to choose a man who is driven by something. Don't go out with her, young man, just because she has a face like Megan Good, a body like Beyonce, and long hair like Michelle Obama. She has got to be virtuous. Because favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord shall be praised. Jacob was dysfunctional, and now his 12 sons end up in the same mess. The Bible says that Jacob loved Joseph more than the rest of his sons. Now that's drama already, because you know that as a parent, you can't love one child over the next and show it. Mercy. Can I be real in church today? I know that we're born into sin, and we have the proclivity to sin, and sometimes you will love one child more than the other, especially if that child is well behaved, well respectable, but you cannot show it. You've got to be like my dad. My dad, I knew that he loved me more than the rest. I'm telling you, I knew he loved me more. See, I grew up with two brothers and a sister. See, I knew he loved me more than the rest, but he did not show it. You know, there were times when he would call me and say, man, meet me outside, and we would drive out privately to have patty and cocoa bread. I knew. Hello, somebody. but he showed it to me privately. Now the text says he loved him because he had Joseph when he was very old. But that's not the only reason, because Benjamin was younger than Joseph. It therefore means that there had to be something in Joseph that made him love him. Well, after reading about the story of Joseph, I realized that Joseph was well mature beyond his years. He demonstrated godly principles, and he had a godly character, and that must have attracted him to his son. And so the Bible says that his father gives him a coat. It had long sleeves. And you know of the story. I don't need to insult your intelligence. You already know that the long sleeves symbolize that Joseph was from a distinguished class. He was somewhat royalty and an aristocrat, because back in Bible times, whenever you wore a long coat like that, it meant that you were distinguished. And now the Bible says that after he gets the coat, he begins to have some weird dreams. And Joseph, being the Christian man that he was, the Bible says that he shared his dreams with his brothers, that one day he would rule over them. Now, if you thought that the brothers hated him over the coat, the Bible says that after he started to tell them the dreams, that's when the brothers decided that they wanted to kill him. Understand that Joseph had been living for 17 long years, and the Bible never mentions that they wanted to kill him. But as soon as he mentions the dream, in verse 18, the Bible says that now they conspire to kill him. Can I tell you that sometimes you cannot be too quick to divulge your dreams, because not everybody can handle what God is getting ready to do through you. You don't have to Facebook everything. You ain't got to tweet everything, because not everyone on Facebook is really your friend. And some of the people who follow you on Instagram are only following you for instant gratification. And the moment you cannot dish out what they need, they'll find somewhere else to eat. Sometimes the only one you can tell is Jesus. Jesus won't put it on Facebook. He won't tweet it. He won't say anything to anybody. But as far as the east is from the west, he'll keep your business. Now, when you peruse the passage, you begin to see what the coat and the dreams do to the brothers. It changed their entire perspective of Joseph. The Bible says that they are now in a place called Dothan. And when they see Joseph afar off, they say, "Here comes the dreamer." They didn't say, "Here comes Joseph." They say, "Here comes the dreamer." This is deep. Let me go deeper. Theologians say that when they saw Joseph coming from the distance, they were not sure that it was him. They say that it was the coat that made them realize that it was their brother. It wasn't his face, it wasn't his stature, but it was by his coat that they realized that it was him. This is significant, and I'll tell you why. Because at this point of the story, his brothers no longer viewed Joseph as a person, but they saw him as a position. Can I go deeper in the text? The problem the brothers were having now was that they saw the person as the position, and they could no longer distinguish the two. All right, let me break it down the more. They thought that the position made Joseph who he was.